The betrayal hits me like ice water the moment I step through those glass doors. My desk is gone, erased like I'd never existed here at all. It's not just gone, the whole corner where my life used to be 5 days a week is different. Smoothed over, the vibrant green stress ball I used to squeeze, the chipped world's okayest analyst mug, the photo of Max, my scruffy terrier, all vanished. I panic, a cold wave washing over me. It's one thing to be told you're being let go, another to be digitally scrubbed and physically removed while you're tending to your dying mother. For a month, that was the deal. 1 month, they said. Take all the time you need, Anna. Family first. I tremble just slightly, a vibration starting in my hands that I try to quell by clenching them into fists. The air in the open plan office, usually a cacophony of clacking keyboards and muted conversations, feels still heavy. The silence is what gets me first. Or maybe it's the smell. The sharp, antiseptic scent of industrial cleaning supplies stings my nostrils, overlaid with the faint chemical sweetness of fresh paint. It's the smell of a crime scene, wiped clean. My crime, apparently, was trusting them. The patch of carpet where my chair and desk once stood is a shade lighter, a freshly vacuumed ghost of its former self. No scuff marks, no indentations, just nothing. I steel myself. I can't break down, not here. Anna? The voice is hesitant, belonging to Janice from HR, who's clutching a tablet to her chest like a shield. Her eyes dart around, not quite meeting mine. That's new. Janice always looked everyone in the eye. It was her superpower. Janice, I say, my voice surprisingly steady. My desk seems to have evaporated. She gives a nervous laugh. Oh, Anna, Mr. Sterling wants to see you immediately. There it is, the ticking clock. No pleasantries, no, how are you holding up after your mom? Just the summons. The antiseptic smell intensifies, or maybe it's just my heightened senses. I can almost taste the lemon-scented cleaner they must have used. The hum of the oversized air conditioning unit suddenly sounds deafening. His office, I ask, though I know the answer. The 33rd floor, the throne room. Yes, right away. She's already backing away, eager to escape. He's waiting. I endure the weight of her pity, or perhaps it's fear. People here are usually so direct. This tiptoeing tells me more than any memo could. Something big went down while I was gone. Something that involved me, or at least my absence. I take a deep breath, straighten my shoulders. It's a small gesture, a quiet power move no one but me would recognize. It's the same way Mom taught me to walk onto a stage for a piano recital, head high, even if your insides are a tangled mess of nerves. I navigate the familiar maze of cubicles, each step feeling heavier than the last. The usual Monday morning buzz is subdued. I feel eyes on me, hear the whispers starting like a slow burn. The soft whir of computers, the distant ring of a phone, all these normal office sounds now seem to accuse me. A few faces I recognize turn away quickly. Others offer tight, sympathetic smiles that don't reach their eyes. They know. They all know something I don't. I pass what used to be Mark's old station. He left a month before my own leave. His space is already occupied by a fresh-faced kid barely out of college, headphones on, oblivious. The speed of replacement here is legendary. I just never thought it would be me. I survive their scrutiny by focusing on the elevator bank at the far end of the office. The metallic tang of fear is in my mouth, but I force it down. As I approach the elevators, Sarah, Mr. Sterling's executive assistant, steps out of one, a sheaf of papers in her hand. Her usually immaculate composure is ruffled. She sees me, and her eyes widen almost imperceptibly. Anna, she says, her voice a little too bright, he's ready for you. So I hear. The elevator doors ding open, a gleaming stainless steel maw. Sarah doesn't offer to accompany me. Another sign. The faint scent of her expensive floral perfume wafts towards me as I step inside, a stark contrast to the chemical sterility elsewhere. I press the button for the 33rd floor. As the doors begin to slide shut, I catch a glimpse of Sarah hurrying towards the main office floor, probably to announce my ascent, or to warn someone. I wonder, with a sudden chill, who they rushed in to replace me. Was it someone I knew? Someone I trained? The thought is a bitter pill. The elevator climbs toward the executive floor, and I realize I might never come back down the same person. The ride is too short, or maybe too long. I watch the numbers light up, each one a step closer to what? An explanation? An apology? A dismissal? My heart pounds against my ribs like a trapped bird. I try to focus on my breathing, the slow in and out Mom always told me would calm any storm. But the air in the elevator is stale, recycled, offering little comfort. The soft music playing overhead, some generic, upbeat tune, feels grotesquely out of place. I fight the urge to press the emergency stop button, to just escape. But where would I go? Back to an empty apartment that still echoed with Mom's laughter? No, I have to see this through. I examine my reflection in the polished steel doors, a woman I barely recognize. Grief has carved new lines around my eyes, stolen the curve from my cheeks. But there's a hardness there too, a glint I haven't seen before. The quiet hum of the elevator is the only sound, a mechanical sigh accompanying my own. The doors slide open onto the hushed, carpeted expanse of the executive floor. It's always colder up here. The air conditioning is arctic. The silence is different too, not the stunned silence of the floor below, but the heavy, expectant silence of power. Sarah is nowhere to be seen. Just a long corridor of dark wood and frosted glass, leading to the double doors of Sterling's office. I prepare for the worst. My heels sink slightly into the plush, dark gray carpet, muffling my steps, making me feel like an intruder. I pass by oversized abstract paintings, their splashes of color doing nothing to warm the frigid atmosphere. The faint scent of old leather and expensive wood polish hangs in the air here, a signature of the executive domain. Each closed door I pass feels like a judgment. I wonder who's behind them, listening, waiting. The CEO's hand touches my elbow, too familiar, too practiced, and I know this performance had been rehearsed. Mr. Sterling appears as if from nowhere, materializing from a side corridor I hadn't even noticed. His smile perfectly calibrated, warm but with an edge of something I can't quite place. Sympathy? No, that's not it. It's something proprietary. "Anna," he says, his voice smooth as aged whiskey. "Good to see you back. How are you doing?" The question is a formality, a box to be ticked. He doesn't wait for an answer, his hand already guiding me, steering me down the hallway. The walk of judgment begins. His touch is light, but the pressure is insistent. I stiffen, but allow myself to be led. The soft click of his expensive Italian leather shoes on the marble inlay of the corridor floor echoes mine, a macabre duet. It's a sound I used to associate with success, with ambition. Now it just sounds like a countdown. "It's been a challenging time, Mr. Sterling," I manage, my voice even. Of course, a terrible loss. Your mother was a wonderful woman." He says it like he's read it from a script, his eyes already flicking ahead. Had he ever even met my mother? I doubt it. We pass a vast window overlooking the city, the skyscrapers like teeth against the gray sky. The view from up here is supposed to be inspiring. Today it feels oppressive. I endure the charade, the feigned concern. Colleagues, or former colleagues, I suppose I should start thinking, emerge from their lairs. Heads of departments, senior VPs. Their offices line this corridor like expensive minimalist crypts. Eyes follow us. I hear the faint murmur of whispered conversations as we pass, the rustle of papers suddenly ceasing. They're watching, evaluating. The air is thick with unspoken questions, with attention so palpable, I can almost taste its metallic edge. I navigate the gauntlet of stairs, keeping my expression neutral, my gaze fixed ahead. My heart is a frantic drummer against my ribs, but my face is a mask of calm. I feel like an exhibit, paraded for their curiosity. "The team has missed your expertise, Anna," Sterling continues, his voice a low purr. "Things have been eventful in your absence." Eventful? I echo, a single word, inviting more. My throat feels tight. The temperature seems to drop another few degrees. The scent of his cologne, something musky and overwhelmingly expensive, is starting to give me a headache. He chuckles, a dry, humorless sound. That's one word for it. Restructuring. You know how it is. The market waits for no one. He glances at me sideways, not even for grief. The casual cruelty of it takes my breath away for a moment. I survive the blow by focusing on a point just past his shoulder. I make eye contact with every person watching us, every curious face peeking from a doorway. I refuse to look ashamed, to look like a victim. Let them see I'm not broken. This is a quiet power move, a small act of defiance, in a situation where I have almost no power at all. The click-clack of our shoes is the only sound that punctuates his monologue. I listen intently, trying to piece together the fragments he's letting slip. Restructuring is a classic corporate euphemism for bloodbath. We're nearing his office. The double doors of dark, polished mahogany loom larger with every step. As we pass his team's main conference room, the one with the floor-to-ceiling glass walls, I glimpse a familiar figure inside, bent over a table laden with spreadsheets. David, my former protege. The one I'd championed, mentored, the one who owed me his last promotion. He looks up, sees me, and his face pales. He quickly looks away back to his papers, but not before I see the guilt in his eyes. He shouldn't be in that room, not with that team. He was my senior analyst. My stomach churns. What in God's name happened here? The soft scent of brewing coffee, usually a comforting aroma, now seems laced with betrayal. The low hum of the server room nearby, a sound I usually find soothing, now feels like a thrumming headache. Sterling doesn't seem to notice my brief pause, or if he does, he ignores it. He's still talking, something about synergy and new paradigms, the usual corporate jargon that means everything and nothing. His office door looms ahead, and through the frosted glass panels, I can see he isn't alone. There are silhouettes, at least two others. My breath catches. This isn't just a chat. This is an ambush. Reborn into this nightmare, I stepped into his office to find my replacement sitting in my chair. Not just a chair, my ergonomic, specially ordered bad back saving chair. And in it, a woman I've never seen before, blonde, impeccably dressed, with a smile that could curdle milk. She looks up as we enter, her expression a carefully constructed blend of sympathy and triumph. My chair, my office, my life. Mr. Sterling gestures magnanimously towards one of the plush visitors' chairs opposite his imposing desk. The one usually reserved for nervous clients or supplicating vendors. The symbolism isn't lost on me. Anna, this is Veronica Stanton, Sterling says, his voice oozing false bonhomie. Veronica has been doing a stellar job stepping into into the team lead role for Project Titan. Project Titan, my project, the one I'd poured 18 months of my life into, the one poised to revolutionize our entire sector, the one I was days from launching before Mom, before I had to leave. The overwhelming scent of his cologne, that same musky, expensive brand, is even stronger in here, almost suffocating. It's trying to mask something else, I realize. Fear. His fear, or maybe Veronica's. Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes. They're cold, assessing. The air crackles with unspoken hostility. I confront the scene, my mind racing. A pleasure, I say, my voice betraying none of the turmoil inside. I don't offer to shake her hand. I don't sit down. Standing feels like the only piece of ground I still own. Veronica's smile tightens. Anna, I've heard so much about you. I'm sure you have, I reply, letting the double meaning hang in the air. The third person in the room, a man in a severe suit I don't recognize, shifts uncomfortably. Legal, I presume. Or HR's muscle. The tick of the grandfather clock in the corner, a pretentious affectation of Sterling's, suddenly sounds like a metronome counting down to my execution. Sterling clears his throat, moving behind his massive mahogany desk, his sanctuary. Anna, as I mentioned, we've had to make some significant adjustments. The board has mandated a leaner operational model, efficiencies, synergies, the whole 9 yards. He shuffles some papers, not looking at me. Unfortunately, your old role as senior project lead has been consolidated. Consolidated, another bloodless corporate word for eliminated. I calculate my options. They're trying to wrong-foot me to make this a swift, clean kill. The scent of lemon polish from the ridiculously oversized desk is sharp, mixing unpleasantly with Sterling's cologne and Veronica's faint, flowery perfume. A battle of fragrances and a battle of wills. Consolidated into what exactly, Mr. Sterling? I ask, my tone polite, inquiring. A quiet power move. Let them explain. Let them dig their own graves. Veronica leans forward, proprietary. Into my new role as Director of Special Projects. Project Titan now falls under a broader strategic umbrella, ensuring greater oversight and resource alignment. Her voice is smooth, rehearsed. She's memorized her lines. I see, I say slowly, my gaze sweeping from her to Sterling, then to the silent lawyer. So, my 18 months of work, the entire architecture, the team I built, the launch plan I finalized, that all just gets absorbed? I strategize, probing for weaknesses. Sterling finally looks at me, his expression carefully neutral. Your contributions were invaluable, Anna, and the company wants to recognize that. We've prepared a generous severance package. He slides a thick envelope across the desk. The ticking clock, signed by end of day, no doubt. The quiet hum of the computer on his desk, the almost inaudible whir of the ceiling fan, all these tiny sounds are amplified, grating on my nerves. The air is thick, unbreathable. Generous? I ask, not moving to take the envelope. Define generous, Mr. Sterling. Does it equate to the projected Q1 revenue from Titan? Because my name is on every foundational patent for that system. The lawyer coughs. Veronica's smile flickers. Sterling's eyes narrow. The package is more than fair, Anna. It includes a standard non-disclosure and non-compete. Of course it does. They want me gone, and they want me silent. My eyes drift across the cluttered expanse of Sterling's desk. Amidst the executive toys, the framed photos of him with minor celebrities, the stacks of unread reports, a document catches my eye. It's partially obscured by a leather-bound blotter, but I recognize the letterhead. And then, I see it, a scrawled note in the margin. My own handwriting, a specific phrase I jotted down during a late-night brainstorming session for Titan, a key algorithm tweak. It was from my personal notebook, the one I'd left locked in my desk drawer, my old desk, the one that no longer existed. How did that get here? My blood runs cold. As I reach for the paper, he slams his hand down on it, and I knew I'd found what they were hiding. Again, I was underestimated. They thought grief would make me weak, but it had sharpened me into something dangerous. His eyes, moments before coolly dismissive, now blaze with a fleeting, quickly suppressed panic. Veronica shifts in my chair, her composure cracking just a little around the edges. The silent lawyer leans forward ever so slightly. The air in the room, already thick with tension, becomes a suffocating blanket. The rough texture of the document edges beneath my fingertips, where I'd brushed it before his hand descended, is a tiny, grounding sensation in the swirling chaos of my mind. That's an internal draft, Sterling says, his voice a little too sharp, his hand still clamped down, not relevant to this discussion. Isn't it? I ask, my voice soft, dangerous. I meet his gaze, unblinking. It looked remarkably like my handwriting, Mr. Sterling. From my personal project notes for Titan. Notes that were in my locked desk drawer when I went on leave. I realize with chilling clarity the extent of their premeditation. They didn't just decide to oust me, they plundered my work first. The faint scent of old paper, mixed with the ink from his heavy pen, fills the small space between us. A flashback, unbidden, slams into me. The sterile, hushed corridor of the hospice, the rhythmic beep of Mom's heart monitor, the agonizingly slow drip of the IV. I remember sitting by her bedside, my laptop open, fielding urgent emails from David, my protege, my trusted second in command. Anna, Sterling's asking for the latest Titan schematics, says the board wants a progress update. Can you send them over? I'd hesitated. It wasn't standard protocol, but Mom had stirred, her hand fluttering in mine, and I'd been distracted, grief-stricken. I'd sent them, and I'd CC'd Sterling. My stomach lurches. David. He wasn't just complicit, he was the key. The taste of betrayal is acrid in my mouth. The quiet whir of the server racks I can hear through the thin office walls suddenly sounds like a mocking laugh. I pieced together the ugly puzzle. My leave wasn't an opportunity for them, it was the plan. Get me out of the way, extract my intellectual property, install a puppet, and cut me loose before I could cry foul. And David, ambitious, eager to please David, was their inside man. My heart burns with a cold fury. My notes, Mr. Sterling, I repeat, my voice hardening, which I assume Veronica found immensely helpful in stepping into the role. I glance at her. Her face is pale, her earlier confidence bleeding away. The silent lawyer is now scribbling furiously on a yellow legal pad. The rhythmic scratch of his pen is an irritating counterpoint to the thumping in my chest. Sterling withdraws his hand slowly, trying to appear casual. Anna, you're overwrought. Understandable, given the circumstances. He attempts a calming gesture. Let's focus on the severance. It's very generous, designed to help you transition. Transition to what, Mr. Sterling? Oblivion? I let out a short, sharp laugh devoid of humor. While you and Miss Stanton launch my project and reap the rewards? My gaze flicks to my phone, resting on the edge of his desk where I'd placed it when I first walked in. A quiet power move. I'd pressed record the moment I saw Veronica in my chair. You know, it's amazing what modern phones can do. The clarity of the audio recording, even in a large room like this. Sterling's eyes dart to my phone, then back to my face. The color drains from his. Veronica makes a small, choked sound. The lawyer stops writing. Checkmate. Or so I thought. Don't be ridiculous, Anna, Sterling blusters, but the bravado is gone. Recording a private conversation? That's inadmissible, possibly illegal. Possibly, I concede. But highly embarrassing for the company if it were to be leaked to, say, TechCrunch? Or the Wall Street Journal? Sterling Corp steals dying employees' work. Catchy headline, don't you think? The true betrayal, the one that cuts deepest, isn't just the theft of my work. It's that someone I trusted, someone I'd mentored and believed in, David, had handed them the knife. The faint, almost imperceptible vibration of my phone against the polished wood tells me a notification has come through, probably just spam. Security! Sterling suddenly bellows, his composure shattering. He stabs a button on his intercom. Get security up here now! The ticking clock escalates. I hear the faint chime of the elevator down the hall being summoned. They'll be here in minutes, maybe less. The scent of his fear is palpable now, sharp and sour beneath the expensive cologne. I had 30 seconds before they arrived, I say, my voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through me. And I finally understood why they needed me gone. Not just for Titan. It was about something more. My work wasn't just innovative, it was disruptive. And it threatened someone, not just Sterling. The distant sound of elevator doors opening, security approaching, is a sharp, metallic clang that cuts through the tense silence in Sterling's office. Two large men in ill-fitting suits. Predictable. My mind races. I have to unleash what I have, and fast. Calling security, Mr. Sterling? I ask, raising an eyebrow. A little theatrical, don't you think? Especially when we're just discussing my contributions. I let my gaze linger on Veronica, who looks like she's about to be physically ill. And yours, of course, Veronica. Though I imagine your contribution was mostly knowing how to spell Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. Get her out, Sterling sputters, his face a mask of fury. The two security guards step into the office, their presence filling the already crowded space. They look uncertain, glancing from Sterling to me. They're not used to confrontations on the executive floor. The rough texture of the cheap polyester of their jackets is almost visible from here. Gentlemen, I say, my voice even, projecting confidence I don't entirely feel. There seems to be a misunderstanding. Mr. Sterling is just about to review some documents pertinent to my employment. This is my quiet power move. I produce a slim file from my handbag, copies of key emails, patent filings in my name, and, crucially, printouts of David's email exchanges with Sterling during my leave. Ones David had foolishly left on a shared drive I still had remote access to. An oversight I'm immensely grateful for. I'd spent the last week, between hospice visits and funeral arrangements, preparing for a fight I didn't know I'd have to wage so soon. Perhaps you'd like to see them too, Mr. Sterling, particularly Exhibit A. The email where you explicitly instruct David to access my personal project files the day after I went on leave. I demolish his bluster with cold, hard facts. The color drains from Sterling's face. Veronica stares at the file in my hand as if it's a viper. The lawyer audibly gasps. The security guards halt, looking even more confused. The air is thick with the smell of fear, paper, and my surprisingly steady resolve. This, this is blackmail, Sterling finally manages, his voice hoarse. Is it? I counter, tapping the file. Or is it just evidence? Evidence of intellectual property theft, conspiracy to defraud, wrongful termination? Shall I go on? My heart is hammering, but my voice is a stiletto. I reclaim me power, one word at a time. The rapid-fire dialogue shifts the power dynamic. He's on the defensive now, cornered. The hum of the building's ventilation system seems to amplify the tension. Veronica suddenly speaks, her voice trembling. I didn't know all of this. He just told me. He said the role was open, that Anna wasn't coming back. She looks at Sterling with dawning horror. He gave me the files. He said they were company property. She's cracking. The weakest link. The quiet click of my pen as I jot a note on my own copy feels like a gavel. Company property developed entirely by me, Veronica, I say, not unkindly, without my consent. This is a fabrication, Sterling insists, but his eyes betray him. He knows he's caught. Just then, the door to Sterling's office, which the security guards had left ajar, opens wider. Sarah, Sterling's usually unflappable assistant, stands in the doorway. And she's not alone. Beside her is a woman in a sharp, tailored suit, carrying a leather briefcase. My unexpected ally. Mr. Sterling, Sarah says, her voice cool and precise, all previous nervousness gone. Miss Adrienne Shaw from our legal department is here. She has some questions for you regarding Project Titan. When Adrienne Shaw from legal walked in with the folder, I saw his face drain of all color. This wasn't the local branch legal counsel, the one Sterling usually had in his pocket. This was Adrienne Shaw, head of corporate compliance, flown in from headquarters. A shark in Chanel, the game had just changed. Again. The sharp snap of Adrienne Shaw's briefcase latches popping open echoes in the suddenly silent room. It's a sound that promises pain for someone. Sterling looks like he's seen a ghost. Veronica has shrunk into my former chair, trying to make herself invisible. The two security guards, sensing a shift in authority they don't understand but instinctively respect, take a half step back, closer to the door. The faint scent of Adrienne's very subtle, very expensive perfume, something clean and citrusy, cuts through the stale air of panic and cheap cologne. Mr. Sterling, Adrienne begins, her voice calm but carrying an unmistakable edge of steel. She doesn't acknowledge me or Veronica yet. Her focus is entirely on him. We received an anonymous tip regarding certain irregularities with the intellectual property filings for Project Titan. Specifically, discrepancies concerning authorship and development timelines. She places a meticulously organized folder on his desk, its contents looking ominously thick. Papers shuffle as she opens it. We also have some questions about the sudden restructuring of the project leadership during Miss Regent's compassionate leave. That's me, Anna Regent. It's the first time my name has been used with any semblance of respect since I walked in. I expose the conspiracy, piece by piece, adding my own file to hers, a collaborative demolition. Miss Shaw, perhaps my own documentation will be of assistance, I say, stepping forward. It details Mr. Sterling's direct instructions to one of my junior analysts, David Miller, to access my proprietary research and algorithms from my locked office and personal drives, without my knowledge or consent, immediately following my departure on approved family leave. I tap the emails I'd laid out. He then appears to have passed this information directly to Miss Stanton, who was appointed to my role, a role that, according to company policy, should have been held for me. Sterling sputters, "This is an internal matter, a misunderstanding." Adrienne Shaw raises a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. "A misunderstanding that involves potential patent fraud and violations of employment law, Mr. Sterling? I assure you, headquarters does not see it that way." Her gaze is unwavering. The quiet hum of the server room seems to pulse with the unspoken threat of litigation. I feel a wave of grim satisfaction. I am vindicated. My quiet power move of meticulous preparation, of not just grieving but arming myself, has paid off. I press my advantage. And then there's the matter of this rather insulting severance package, I say, gesturing to the envelope still sitting on his desk. Offered to me under duress with a demand for signature by end of day, clearly an attempt to silence me before I could uncover the extent of this restructuring. Veronica finally finds her voice, a reedy, desperate sound. I didn't know. He told me Anna wasn't coming back. He said her work was abandoned. He gave me the files, the access codes. I just did what I was told. She looks from Adrian to me, her eyes pleading. I can show you the emails, the directives he sent me. I kept copies. Her confession, her plea for mercy hangs in the air. The air itself feels thin, charged. Sterling is ashen-faced, his eyes darting between us like a cornered animal. His desperate attempts to regain control are failing spectacularly. Veronica, you're overwrought. Adrian, this is a gross mischaracterization. Adrian Shaw cuts him off smoothly. Mr. Sterling, we have David Miller in a conference room downstairs with 2 other members of my team. He's been remarkably cooperative. She pauses, letting the implication sink in. He seems quite eager to clarify his role in all of this, and yours. The final nail, David has flipped. My anger at him is still there, a hot coal in my chest, but it's overshadowed by a chilling sense of triumph. I glance at my watch. The media contacts I'd cultivated over the years, the ones who owed me a favor or two, are expecting my call in just under 1 hour. Another ticking clock, one Sterling isn't even aware of. I calmly offer them a choice, resignation or prosecution. So, Mr. Sterling, I say, my voice quiet but firm, you have 2 options as I see it. Option 1, you tender your resignation, effective immediately, citing personal reasons. Miss Stanton here does the same. The company initiates a full internal review, and Project Titan's launch is paused, pending clarification of intellectual property. Option 2. Miss Shaw proceeds with her current line of inquiry, which I imagine will involve local authorities, the SEC, and some very public lawsuits. Your call. As I watched him fumble for his phone, presumably to call the board or his personal lawyer, I realized this was only the beginning. The satisfying weight of the keys to his office, or rather what would soon be my office, felt like a distant, tantalizing possibility in my palm, even though they weren't physically there yet. The negotiations that followed were swift and brutal, orchestrated by Adrian Shaw with the precision of a surgeon. Sterling and Veronica were ushered out, their careers in ashes, their faces a mixture of shock and dawning horror. The scent of victory, clean and sharp like Adrian's perfume, was finally beginning to overpower the lingering staleness of deceit. I dictate my terms. Reinstatement isn't enough, not after this. I want his office, I state calmly to Adrian once the door closes on Sterling's retreating, broken figure. And his title, CEO, effective immediately. Adrian doesn't blink. The board will need to ratify, of course, but given the circumstances and the evidence of Mr. Sterling's gross misconduct, I anticipate their full cooperation. Your leverage with Project Titan, your patents. They need you, Miss Regent, more than they realize. The quiet hum of the building's mainframe, usually a background drone, now sounds like a purring beast, content. And full autonomy on Project Titan, I add. No oversight committee handpicked by Sterling's cronies. My team, my decisions. I establish my authority. This isn't just about revenge. It's about protecting my work, my vision. Adrian nods. Understood. We'll draft the preliminary agreement. There will be considerable financial recompense for the distress and professional damages, naturally. Naturally, I echo. But the money is secondary. It's the principle. It's the message. The click of her pen as she makes notes on a fresh legal pad is a far more satisfying sound than the earlier tick of Sterling's clock. I command the situation now, my quiet power move, accepting the CEO position but entirely on my conditions. The next few hours are a blur of meetings. confronting those who enabled the betrayal, the VPs who looked the other way, the department heads who whispered in the corridors. Some are apologetic, others defiant, most just scared. I'm polite, professional, but my eyes miss nothing. I'm setting up my new administration, identifying allies, neutralizing threats. David Miller is brought in. He looks shattered, a ghost of his former ambitious self. He can't meet my eye. Why, David? I ask him, my voice devoid of heat. Just a cold, hard inquiry. The faint metallic scent of his fear fills the small meeting room. I don't know, Anna, he stammers. He promised me a fast track. Director by 30. I got greedy. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix it, David, I say. But cooperation might mitigate the damage to your future. His fate is now tied to his usefulness. That's the new currency. As the day ends, I'm standing in what was Sterling's office, now mine. The view of the city, once oppressive, now seems to stretch out before me, a landscape of possibilities. The office still faintly smells of his cologne, a scent I'll have eradicated by morning. I'm exhausted, but a strange energy thrums through me. The weight of the day, the betrayals, the fight, it's settling but not as despair. As something else. Purpose. My new secure phone delivered by Adrian's team buzzes on the vast mahogany desk. An unknown number, encrypted. I hesitate for a moment, then answer. Miss Regent? The voice is male, clipped, official, untraceable accent. Speaking. Congratulations on your appointment. We were confident you'd prevail. A chill traces its way down my spine. Who is this? The smooth, cool glass of the phone feels suddenly cold against my ear. But let's just say, we've been observing your career with great interest. Mr. Sterling's recent actions were unfortunate, but they provided a necessary catalyst. Catalyst for what? My mind is racing. This isn't corporate. This is something else entirely. Project Titan is more important than you imagine, Miss Regent. And your unique skills are essential. Sterling was a liability. You are an asset. The call from Washington, or whatever shadow organization this man represented, changed everything. This wasn't just about corporate politics. My new office, the city lights twinkling below like a million scattered diamonds, suddenly felt like a gilded cage, or perhaps a new kind of chessboard. The cold touch of the secure phone against my ear is a stark reminder that the game has new, unseen players. Important to whom? I ask, my voice steady, betraying none of the sudden, dawning understanding that's beginning to crystallize in my mind. This isn't about quarterly earnings or shareholder value. Titan, my Titan, is a key, and I'm now the one holding it. To interests that value global stability, Miss Regent, the voice replies, smooth and devoid of inflection. Interests that believe your innovative approach to data analysis and predictive modeling could avert certain undesirable futures. The hum of the secure line is almost imperceptible, a whisper of immense, hidden power. I sink into the ridiculously large leather CEO chair. It still bears the faint indentation of Sterling's presence, a ghost I'll soon exorcise. My mind is working furiously, connecting dots I hadn't even known existed. My father's consulting work for the government, his vague trips, the accidental data breach at my university research lab years ago that I'd flagged, the strangely persistent recruiters from obscure DC think tanks. Was my entire career path, this entire ordeal, a meticulously orchestrated recruitment drive? The thought is both terrifying and exhilarating. I accept the new reality, the sheer mind-boggling scope of it. And Sterling's betrayal? I ask. Was that part of the test? To see if I'd fight back? To see if I was resilient enough? A pause, then. Mr. Sterling's greed and incompetence were his own, Miss Regent. But your response to the situation was noted. It confirmed our assessment of your character. The almost silent click as he disconnects leaves a profound stillness in the room. The weight of what I've just heard settles upon me, not as a burden, but as a mantle. I transform in that moment, from a wronged employee, a grieving daughter, a corporate warrior, into something more. My quiet power move. The realization that I was always meant to end up in this position, not by corporate ladder climbing, but by some unseen grand design. The immediate conflicts, Sterling, Veronica, the theft of my work, they seem almost petty now, skirmishes before the real war. The resolution of those battles has simply cleared the board for a much larger and more dangerous game. The betrayal, I now see, wasn't just a corporate backstabbing. It was a crucible, a test I hadn't known I was taking, but one I had apparently passed with flying colors. I look at the secure phone in my hand, its surface smooth and inscrutable. It's not just a phone, it's a link to a world I'm only now beginning to comprehend. The city below, usually a comforting panorama of lights and life, now seems like a complex network of secrets and hidden agendas. The faint scent of ozone from the high-tech air purifiers in the executive suite is the only aroma now, clean, sterile, and ready for a new beginning. As I hang up the phone and look out at the city below, the vast, glittering expanse of it, I finally understood why they called me back. Or rather, why they maneuvered me into this seat of power. The real mission was just beginning.